John Schuff, who's president of the Wakulla Economic Development Council, who will then introduce our governor, and Senator Simon, who will then be followed by Secretary Alex Kelly from Commerce and Commissioner Quincy Messersmith. There are so many people who are here to share this amazing event. So with that, let me invite up Daniel.
Good morning. My name's Daniel Gaston. I'm the CEO of Point Blank. Very excited to be here in Wakulla County. Thank you very much for having me. It's my privilege to introduce Hoyt Smith today. He has a very important announcement to make. Hoyt is a long-term Florida native, a FSU grad, former Tallahassee PD, and Hoyt has also been with Point Blank for 19 plus years, and Hoyt is currently the president of our commercial division. So I'm going to turn this over to Hoyt for this special announcement.
Thank you and good morning. Like Daniel said, my name is Hoyt Schmidt, and I'm the president of our commercial business for Point Blank Enterprises. And we're proud to be here today and excited about the future here for us in Wakulla County. We are a manufacturer and designer of body armor in South Florida primarily, but we do have facilities all around the country and throughout the world. So we are also located in North Carolina, Michigan, California, also in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and the United Kingdom. So we employ about 4,000 employees worldwide, and we, like I said, we design armor for both law enforcement and for our U.S. military. So we are the largest manufacturer of body armor in the U.S. right now, and we have plans to occupy a building that Wakulla is gratefully building for us in Opportunity Park. It's going to be a 100,000 square feet manufacturing facility and 18,000 square feet of office space. And we plan to continue our commercial business there for the U.S. law enforcement and law enforcement around the world. So I just wanted to say thank you to some of the key partners that are sitting here in this room today. One of that being the Wakulla County Commission and the Wakulla County EDC. Also, Florida's Great Northwest that helped facilitate this, and the Governor's Office and the Commerce Office have all been involved in this from the beginning and assisting us with making this move into Wakulla County. Thank you very much. And next is John Schuff with Wakulla County, President of Wakulla County EDC.
Well, thank you, Daniel and Hoyt. Enjoyed getting to meet you all a little bit better last night over dinner. And just wanted to, on behalf of Wakulla EDC, we're thrilled to be here for this announcement and appreciate your commitment to Wakulla County. The 300 jobs that Point Blank is bringing to our community will pay an average annual wage of $52,900 with an addition of $8,300 in employee benefits, generating $3.5 million into our local, state, and federal tax base to be invested back into our community. These new Florida jobs will generate $38 million in earnings directly from Point Blank, and they will also create an additional 213, I call them ripple effect jobs, for a total earning for our community of $46 million, further strengthening and diversifying our economy. Duke Energy is a partner who has been involved in this project in so many ways, has provided this economic impact analysis. So you're hearing a consistent theme today of partnerships. We're excited as a community to be able to offer the Wakulla County School System and our War Eagle Technical Academy, Tallahassee State College and Wakulla Environmental Institute, and the FAMU FSU School of Engineering to improve our local talent and technology pipelines while having you in return as a strong community partner. Today's celebration would not have happened without the help of Opportunity Florida, Florida's Great Northwest, Triumph Gulf Coast, Duke Energy, Career Source Capital Region, Wakulla's Board of County Commissioners, and the Florida Department of Commerce. And we would be remiss if we did not also acknowledge that little train that kept on pushing our local business community. In a world where most EDCs are fully government funded, our business community contributes over half of the funding needed to operate Wakulla's Economic Development Council. Today's announcement is the first of its kind for Wakulla County and won't be the last. Will bring a major economic impact to our entire region while we build a stronger community here at home on a foundation of strong families that are sustained by the excellent jobs that you guys are going to be providing. So with that said, it is Wakulla County's privilege and honor to welcome the leader of the greatest state in our nation, our governor, Ron DeSantis.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. Well, please be seated. Thanks so much. Thank you. It's great to be in Wakulla County. We were staying up late last night to watch Florida State baseball. That didn't quite go as well as I can tell you. I've got some very sad kids this morning because they're very much into that. But this is great to be here to have this great announcement and to really show that we are making huge progress in not just the economy. We're ranked #1 in Florida in the economy the last 2 years by both CNBC and by U.S. News and World Report of all 50 states. And you can see the statistics and everything. But one of the things we've really done is, since I've been governor, we've added over 100,000 manufacturing jobs. You hear a lot of talk about this, obviously nationally. In Florida, we're showing how it's done, and this initiative that has now led to Point Blank being able to really produce some great jobs is a good example of how that works. Now, Florida, if you look at all 50 states, we have the lowest number of government employees per capita, so we have a limited government. We have paid off, if you look at 180 years of Florida history and the amount of debt the state had accumulated, not actually that much compared to some of these other states, but just since I've been governor, we've paid off 41% of that and counting. So we now have the lowest per capita debt of any state in the United States of America. Your share of the federal debt, if they were to just make everyone pony up to pay it off as a U.S. citizen, would be over $105,000. Your share of the Florida debt is about $450. So this is much, and declining every day. We also have one of the lowest tax burdens in the country, second lowest amongst for state tax burden, and we're also working on local relief with property tax, and so stay tuned on that. We want to deliver victories there, but no state income tax, and we're working with the legislature to eliminate a tax that Florida was really an anomaly on, and that's taxing business rent. Makes no sense. It's not good for the economy. So I think that that's going to go the way of the buffalo. We've done a lot to reduce it, but I think we're going to be able to eliminate it. We lead the nation in new business formations. Every year for the past 5 or 6 years, more businesses have been formed in Florida than any state. And here's the thing. We're the third largest state. So you'd think, obviously, even if we weren't somehow doing well, we're going to have more business formations than small states. But, you know, California has almost twice as many people. We have 23+ million. They're close to 40 million. And yet we have more business formations in Florida than in California. I think as people realize their businesses aren't going to burn down in Florida, and you're going to be able to actually keep law and order. And I see what's going on out there, and it's you know, really disgraceful to be letting the inmates run the asylum. I just have never quite figured out. You got people out there, they are supposedly objecting to the enforcement of immigration laws. And so they're protesting that, which, first of all, the federal government has a right to do. That's the laws of this country. And you have every right, the Trump administration, DHS, has every right to be enforcing the laws. But you have some of these people, they're objecting because they don't want to get kicked out of America, and yet they're burning the American flag. And yet they're waving the flag of the country that they don't want to get sent back to. Can you please make this make sense to me? I mean, it's insane. And so what happens in California, I think a lot of people over the years, they just haven't felt safe, particularly in places like LA and in San Francisco, because, you know, they really do let the inmates run the asylum. When you try to do that in Florida, the chances of you getting away with that is precisely zero, because we will hold you accountable and do that very quickly. So the business formation has been good, but I do think the public safety has been a big part of the economic success, and I think it's really hurt some of these states that have walked away from it. So we've been able to do that. We've had a lower unemployment rate than the nation as a whole for, years now going. We've grown the economy in Florida since I became governor. I don't know, it's probably up more. I used to say we grew it 30%. I think it's probably closer to 40%. Some even say we've grown at 50% Florida's economy, but we have the second highest GDP growth as a percentage of any state in the country. The only state ahead of us is Idaho, and it's a beautiful state, but it's only a couple million people, so it's a lot easier to have a bigger percentage jump for us. We've got 23 million people, so that's great. And we're working on, and I know Corey Simon's here, Senator, he's done a great job for you guys. And I know this is not his fault, but there's still not a budget done in the legislature. I think it's coming. I think it's coming. Everyone just kind of, you wait by the state capitol. It's almost like, the Vatican. You have the white smoke, Habemus. It's like, when is a budget? Do we have a budget? And all this stuff. But suffice it to say, we've been able to do really big things for the state. I'm going to mention what we did here to help this project. We've increased teacher salaries more than has ever been done in the history of Florida. We've done bonuses for law enforcement that had never been done before. It's been huge for the people that wear the uniform. We've invested massive resources into restoring and nurturing our natural resources, whether that's our springs, whether that's our Everglades, whether that's our coastline. Really historic things have been done in that realm. And then in infrastructure and transportation, we've put billions of dollars into accelerating these projects, and we're having great success on that. And we've returned billions and billions of dollars to taxpayers. So, but with all that being said, current year, we're spending less than than what we spent the year before. And I think when this budget's finished, I think we're going to end up spending even less next year, while hopefully still being able to do the things that people really want us to do. So, these other states, New York, for example, we have probably 3, maybe 4 million more residents now in Florida than in New York. They've contributed to a lot of those residents, and because they've been fleeing. And yet, with 4 million more people, our budget for the state of Florida is less than half of New York State's budget. New York City's budget, 8 million people, is more than the budget of state of Florida. Now, I would ask you, are they delivering better services than Florida? Are they have better roads and infrastructure than Florida? Do they have better education? No, of course not. So this can be done, and it can be done in ways that are sustainable and that really reinforce what makes Florida unique. So I'm proud of being able to work with people like Corey to be able to get this done. Now, one of the tools that we have is this Job Growth Grant Fund, which basically looks to support workforce, education, and or infrastructure, surrounding infrastructure that can help. And particularly when you're talking about industrial growth, to be able to have a place in an area where things are connected, roads, all the things you need to, that can make the difference between something being viable for a business and something not viable. So we've been very strategic about how we've used the Job Growth Grant Fund over the years. We have done things like we'll mention here. We've also done things like expand commercial driver's license slots. These truck drivers make good money now because it's tough to get people to do. We were producing, I think, about 300 truck drivers a year, 400 truck drivers. Now we're doing 1,500, 2,000 truck drivers being produced with our programs. And part of it is because we use Job Growth Grant for our state colleges to be able to buttress that. We also have a program called the Rural Infrastructure Fund, and it allows the state to be able to provide support for our rural communities in service of their infrastructure needs. The reality is the rural communities, they don't have the same tax base that you have in some of the more urban communities. You've got some places in like South Florida where tourists pay a huge amount. Snowbirds who aren't even Florida resident contribute a lot to that. You may not have that as much in some of our rural areas, and so we've been willing to use this fund to be able to help. Incidentally, you know, when we talk about property tax, people say, oh, you know, the rural, the fiscally constrained, they need to tax people's property. Otherwise, they can't have revenue to run their government. Well, listen, I run the numbers, and if you took the fiscally constrained counties, I think there are like 30-some counties. Is that the number? 31 counties. And if you said tomorrow there would be no tax on anybody's homesteaded property, personal residence, the amount of money that we would need in Florida to backfill all that revenue for those fiscally constrained counties is about $300 million a year. And I'm just telling you, that is budget dust. Like, that's easy for us to do. And I'm not suggesting that, like, we have to just do that, but I'd be willing. Of course we're going to help with that. You know, we want homeowners to be able to afford to stay in their home. And if that means that we take this gigantic surplus that we've accumulated and help rural counties and fiscally constrained counties, I'd much rather do that and be able to get the property tax relief done than try to say, oh, well, we can't do property tax relief because the rurals aren't going to be able to raise revenue. We have revenue. We've got a lot of revenue that we're going to be able to do. So you can count on me to be able to help with that. We're working on this right now. I want to do property tax. I want to do a property tax rebate this year. We're working with the Senate on the budget, on getting that through. I think that's really important for people. So all homesteaded Floridians, we want them to be able to get a rebate on a portion of their property taxes because, you know, it's local, but there is some of that gets directed to state education. I can backfill that. I mean, that's no problem. We've got the ability to do that. So I'm hoping we can do that. But then we're working for the bigger project, which will need to go on the ballot in 2026. So I think everybody who looks at this, you know, does understand, you know, we do want people to actually own their homes. And at some point to say that you're 80 years old and you paid off your mortgage 30 years ago and yet you still got to just stroke checks, and then people are telling you your property's worth twice as much as it was 10 years ago, and that goes up even though you do have some protection. That's not what we want. We want people to own free and clear. So stay tuned on that. So Rural Infrastructure Fund allows us to do that. So we saw an opportunity here in Wakulla. So earlier this year, I announced $3.5 million to Wakulla County for the development and construction of 2 county-owned buildings at Opportunity Park. Now these facilities, I think it's over 100,000. Each of them are over 100,000 square feet. They will be able to house high-skilled, high-wage jobs in targeted industries and help drive long-term economic development in the region. The latest award that we did earlier this year builds off the $4.5 million that we did in December through the Rural Infrastructure Fund. So the state is in for $8 million for Opportunity Park because we see the possibilities and we see the potential here. You also have, and I know we have some representatives, Triumph Gulf Coast has contributed $13.5 million. University of West Florida Haas Center invested $500,000. And so this has really been a team effort. These are just the infrastructure improvements are projected to generate more than $13 million, but the economic impact is projected to be $64 million in wages and for participating workers. And you guys know how the economy works. You know, if people are able to find gainful employment and actually earn a decent living, then they're going to be able to spend that money here locally. It helps businesses. It helps things move. And I'm proud that because of this, that Point Blank Enterprises is a leading manufacturer of body armor and protective solutions for law enforcement and military personnel, that they are going to expand into this new facility. So you think about things that you manufacture, these are things that save the lives of our law enforcement personnel, particularly when they have to go in very dicey situations. And we've had instances, probably more than I can count since I've been governor, where you'll have law enforcement get shot, and this protection is the difference between having a fatality and not. And so I appreciate what they're doing. It's really, really important. I think was mentioned, you're looking at over $60,000 for the average employee in salaries and benefits. That's something that is meaningful. Obviously, we would love to see inflation go back to zero so that people aren't losing ground. And I know it's been rough over the last 4 years in particular as people have seen prices go up. So hopefully we'll look for some stability there. I know in Florida, people have seen it happen because, you have, how much money has the Fed printed? How much has Congress borrowed and spent? There is going to be ramifications from this. You can't just, there's not a free lunch. And hopefully we'll be able to see that get under control. But I'm excited here for Point Blank. I think this is a great announcement for Wakulla County. And I'm just proud as governor. You can be governor when you have 23+ million people, and you could spend your entire time focused on South Florida, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville. You can be governor and get reelected even without ever even visiting any of our rural communities. Like the math, you can do that, and that's what some people have done. I was the first governor that had done public events in my first term in all 67 Florida counties. And when we're doing public events, it's not just me stopping by, to have lunch somewhere. Although I will say, we've got some good stuff in our rural communities, and we may have done that a time or two as well. But it's showing up with announcements and initiatives that are moving the ball forward for rural Florida. I know that Corey is very much in tune with this, given so much of his district. He's kind of got the heart of Tallahassee, and then he's got rural pretty much other than that. And I know he's been a big champion for rural Florida. Ben Albritton, the president of the Florida Senate, has been a big champion for rural Florida. So I think that, first of all, I did all those events, and we continue to support, because it's the right thing to do. As you get elected, you got to represent the whole state. You can't just pick and choose. But I also see the potential. I think you're going to continue to see some really good stuff, and this is an announcement that really proves that point, where results are being put forward. And that's what it's all about, producing results for people. So I appreciate you guys, your investment in this. The state, we're happy to have played an important part in this, and I'm really looking forward to Point Blank and everything that's going to happen with this potentially really game-changing facility. So thank you all. God bless, and I'll be back soon. See you later.
What a treat. What a treat to have the governor here. I'm so thankful to the governor because, as he mentioned, he continues to focus on rural Florida. And he mentioned it, that you can go to Miami, you can go to Orlando, you can go to Broward County and all of these other places because of the population base that's there. But showing up to places like Wakulla County, Liberty County, Gadsden County, and so many more that I represent in my district, that is a tremendous win for the district. And so I'm so thankful that the governor continues to put the focus on manufacturing here in this state. Because in our rural communities, American-made still means something. American-made still means something. And I want to take it a step further. Florida-made still means something. And that's why I'm so proud of the folks that are in this room that have put in so much hard work to get folks like Point Blank to come here to Wakulla County. This is a tremendous opportunity for rural Florida. I've got more, so if you're looking to expand, I've got 12 other counties that I represent. But this is so important. I am so proud of this community because you all continue to grow in a smart and resourceful way. And that's just what this is. I get folks all the time that talk about, when I talk about economic development in our communities, and they think that we're wanting North Florida and we're wanting rural communities to look like Orlando, Miami. That's not what we're looking for. The reason why we live in these communities is because we enjoy the lifestyle that we've been able to build. And that's important. When we talk about economic development, what's first and foremost is the lives that we have decided to live in our rural communities can be maintained. But there are some things that I think communities need to continue to grow in a smart way. And Point Blank, you're facilitating one of those. Tallahassee State College, you're facilitating one of those. The state of Florida is facilitating one of those. It's education, it's job and being able to access a good job, and it's putting the resources with the communities leading the way to be able to use in these communities. That was one of the great things about the Rural Renaissance Bill that I got a chance to run. Now, that bill died, unfortunately, but the tenets of that bill still stand, and we'll continue to fight for, making sure that we provide the resources necessary so that communities like Wakulla can decide how they grow and how big they grow. And so I'm so proud of this community. I'm proud to represent this community because you all have meant so much to me. Another person that's here that I'm going to bring up, but he has been a tremendous friend, not only personally, but to all our rural counties throughout this state. And that's Secretary Alex Kelly. Alex has been a game changer of our Florida commerce. I had a chance to, Representative Schoaf and I got on the phone with him the other night when we were looking at the budget, and there was some concern about RIF funds, rural infrastructure funds. And so we called Alex and said, listen, what do we need? Because it wasn't a lot being in the budget at the time. Now, still some moving parts that we need to fix. But he says, Corey, honestly, $50 million would be great. Because last year we had $110 million in requests for our rural infrastructure fund. $50 million would be great. Listen, I agree with him. Actually, Representative Abbott and I think it should be double that. But we'll continue to try and get as much money in that fund so that rural communities don't have to suffer because of the choice that they made to live and grow and really put their roots down in these communities. And so I'm so thankful. Alex continued to be a friend to rural Florida, Secretary Alex Kelly.
Well, thank you, Senator. And I'm actually going to do my comments in the reverse order because, Senator, I think you finished on a couple of really important points. But again, Alex Kelly, Secretary of Commerce, I do need to say, at the outset, it's every day. The governor is incredibly clear when it comes to rural communities. Really dig into the projects, get to know the projects, figure out what the community needs, listen, be there often, really dive deep, and figure out a way to get to yes. That is such an important thing. But Senator Simon, what you said is so true. And you and I spent a lot of late nights having a lot of conversations about a number of communities, including Wakulla County. And it's true what you said, too. Really from before the session to all the way through last week, you, Representative Schoaf, Representative Abbott, there's just a few folks who I talk to all the time, particularly you, sir, but all the time about rural communities, and that is the team, and it really does matter. And I know you all made a lot of headway last week. It's important. It's critically important. And I want to hit on another point that you brought up, Senator, which is, and where'd Superintendent Meyer go? There you are. Superintendent Meyer, President Murdaugh, we were talking about this last week when we were together, which is at a deep, deep level, why is this so important to support our rural communities? It's not about growth. It's not about growth. It's about giving an option for families, particularly their young people, to have the opportunity to stay. That's the difference. That's the difference when it comes to rural Florida, is it's creating great opportunities for young people to stay, have a great job with Point Blank, have maybe an opportunity one day to start their own business, and have that vision. Young people, Superintendent, you know this probably more than anybody, young people, they don't pay attention in math class, just like they don't maybe think about a post-secondary education and what they're doing, at least not in the community they're from, if they can't see where it's going. That is the key. Young people have to see where the opportunity is leading. And so, and really, I don't think I've ever seen on any project the degree of education partners that are going to support Point Blank Enterprises. You're incredibly fortunate. We're incredibly grateful, Daniel and Hoyt, incredibly grateful because what you're bringing to this community is not just great manufacturing jobs. That much is true. That's a win in of itself. But it's also that you really are supporting our law enforcement, our U.S. military. You really are supporting those who keep us all safe on blue sky days and gray sky days, and we thank you for that. We thank you for your commitment to those who matter so much to us. You know, the educational partners, Tallahassee State, FSU, FAMU, UWF, Wakulla County Schools. I'm probably missing somebody, but the educational partners have been lined up on the front end here of this project, which means that 30, 40 years from now, this is going to be a great endeavor with a community that's all in supporting the project. That really is truly unique. I think overall, too, this project is unique, and we've talked about a lot of the partners, you know, throughout this Wakulla County EDC. Florida's Great Northwest, Jennifer, Mark from Duke, you know, Opportunity Florida, Triumph Gulf Coast. So many partners have leaned in to support this project. Really and truly, I've never seen that big of a team to lean in and support a project. So this is going to be an incredible success for Wakulla County. Looking forward to coming back and continuing to support the work here. Really want to thank the team at Opportunity Park, Worth and the team for the work they've done. A vision that's taken. There you are, Worth. That's taken a long time, but it's a vision worth having. It's a vision worth seeing across the finish line. And again, just you know, on behalf of the governor, our team at Florida Commerce, and all of our partners, just looking forward to continuing to support Wakulla County and support the team at Point Blank. Again, congratulations. And I believe now Commissioner Messersmith. Thank you.
Good morning. So I have been tasked with bringing this baby home, no pun intended, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of statistics, but I do have a few people that I'd like to call up here, and that would be somebody named Wakulla County Commissioner Ralph Thomas. I want you to be whichever side you want to get on. We're going to make it equal. My fellow commissioners, County Administrator David Edwards, Worth, Duke Energy, Mark Hohenstein, Leslie Weiss. We know why you're here, our direct pipeline. Nicole, Jennifer, Rick Meyer, Sheriff Miller. Who am I missing in the room? Are you a fellow commissioner out there, Josh Walhan? All righty. Ready? So in 2023, Florida's Great Northwest worked really hard to recruit Point Blank enterprises to our region. And as soon as 2024, somewhere in that time frame, we had met up at Angelo's after a lot of hard work from Jennifer. We were invited to submit a proposal showcasing what we have to offer the company. And if I do say so myself, I think that we bring a lot. Public-private partnerships supported by our BOCC regional partners like Duke Energy and Career Source, industrial park landowners like NG Wade. Where's Worth? Oh, you're up here. Okay, perfect. All of this came together because it was a private-public partnership. Once Point Blank Enterprises selected Wakulla County as the final community being considered in the 13-county region, it triggered our ability to apply for funding from Triumph Gulf Coast and the Florida Department of Commerce. Thank you. Additionally, we received a grant from UWF's Industry Resilience and Diversification Fund program, and the IRDF program goal is to encourage the creation of sustainable, high-paying jobs. I think there's a common theme that we're going through out here. So Opportunity Park might look like raw land. It's really not. We've been working on this for a really long time, thanks to Duke and all of our partners. And then we keep on getting back to the common theme of the Wakulla War Eagle Academy. I mean, what could we possibly say about that besides it is absolutely amazing for the future of our children, and not only that, the future of families getting to stay home. So funded with Gulf Triumph Coast dollars, the War Eagle Academy is helping to equip high school students with skills that they need to be competitive, and that is exactly like something that we want Point Blank to be able to share in this process with us. So I think I have everybody up here to do something special, and I've said since this project began with regard to all the outlying counties, all of the things that our EDC does, I think we're going to get to welcome Amy and Hoyt Schmidt back home to Tallahassee. And that's going to be a lot. Thank you. All righty. And with that, I think we're done, correct? Awesome.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.